The HOA crisis here in Florida is reaching a level that's hard to even imagine.
Our dues went from $300 to $820, not a year, not a quarter, a month.
Our HOA fines $500 per fine, and we just got a notice for fines for not having enough colors in the front yard. You have to have 9.
We got a letter on June 5th of this year letting us know that a roof project was underway and that every homeowner would have to pay $17,000 towards a $2.5 million assessment.
So my HOA now is $708 a month.
So there is a growing problem with HOAs getting worse and worse and worse, are raising your HOA dues. And this is what's getting a lot of people in the state of Florida. Condo associations all across the country are saying, how much more can I squeeze out of people? Not to mention their insurance has gone up. The HOA maintenance costs have gone up. Their legal bills have gone up. Everything has gone up, and we're starting to really see it trickle down to those with HOAs. And if you have a house and you have an HOA and all of a sudden they decide to do an assessment and you can't pay, well, welcome to foreclosure, because yes, some of these HOAs can foreclose on you. Got to get down to the nitty gritty. Let's get into it in this video.
So my HOA now is $708 a month. We got a special assessment, so it's $708 for the next 4 months, and then it'll go back down to $603 a month. 2, the pool is closed. Apparently Miami-Dade closed it down because they said it was unsafe. 3, I'm hearing that 2 people have tripped in the community and broken bones because of the concrete and the sidewalks are uneven. And just over time, the community has run down. Like, it needs to be painted, it needs pressure washing, the concrete areas need to be fixed, the pools need to be fixed. And it's like, what am I paying all this money for if I can't even feel safe in my community where I'm walking outside at night and, uneven ground and things like that. And this community was one of the better communities to move into 4 years ago when I first bought my place, because I've looked at some communities in Miami-Dade in my price point for what I was looking for. I looked at some and I was like, oh, hell no, I ain't living here. There's a lot of communities in Miami-Dade bad, like run down, and that was 4 years ago. And I'm starting to feel like my community is one of those communities now. And the sad part is like, there's nowhere cheaper to live, in a sense, you know what I'm saying? Also, my mortgage has gone up because of the escrow, like the taxes and insurance. It goes up, so my payment has gone up. And in addition to, now I have a really high HOA to pay. And then your pay doesn't go up. So there's a lot of things that happens in America that discourages you from wanting to go through the cycle and live here.
So there's a growing problem with HOAs constantly raising the cost of your dues. Every year they go up. Just like your insurance cost goes up, HOA costs are not fixed. And as you get into your elder years or you're trying to live off a fixed income, it gets very hard when all of a sudden, on a whim of a vote, they raise your HOA dues.
The HOA crisis here in Florida is reaching a level that's hard to even imagine. There's condos here that the owners are now having to pay over $2,000 a month in their HOA fees. And now these owners, they're being forced to sell because they can't afford it anymore. Like on this listing here in Miami, you can see they said here on the listing, owner is motivated to sell, can't afford the condo assessment, they've cut the price. And this is a real crisis, everyone, because many of the owners here in Florida and Miami, they're seniors on fixed incomes. They don't have the money to all of a sudden have their HOA fees double for their condo, and now they're being forced to sell with the inventory of homes for sale going up all across Florida, particularly here in some parts of Miami, where we're just seeing many of these condo owners be forced to sell. So if you're a home buyer out there looking at a condo potentially, be very, very careful. Look at those HOA fees and try to understand if they're going to go up more in the future.
And this is exactly what I was talking about. HOA dues constantly going up. If you're in condos, if you're anything in South Florida, look out. Condo associations are basically bankrupting people right now. They're flooding the market. Condos are flooding the market because all these people can't pay their assessments. I've done numerous videos on the amount of people that cannot pay their assessments because your condo association got together, figured out they were probably going bankrupt, or the new integrity surveys, studies have said, you know what, you need a new roof. We need new electrical, need new plumbing, the stairway, the elevator. It's all a problem. We didn't see this coming. Now we need you to pay for it. And they give you an assessment. We've been seeing six-figure assessments in the state of Florida coming down like Christmas candy. It is something that is just mind-boggling. How many people have been caught with these assessments?
A handful of groups held a pray-in for a family on Saturday whose house was sold out from under them by their HOA. Now they're asking the person who bought the house to sell it back. But as Jasmine Arenas reports, it may not be that easy.
Unjust and predatory and racist practices are to be called out.
Monica Villela, a single mom of 4, is holding on to her faith.
We know how important a home is.
After her house in Green Valley Ranch was sold behind her back by her HOA, she bought it for more than $180,000 in 2005. But it was sold to a realtor for $25,000 18 months ago.
Who would have thought? Probably sold it to his buddy. Most of these board members know who has stacked up HOA dues bills that are outstanding. They know who is coming up for foreclosure. They know the rules. And odds are they wind up giving the deal to their buddy. Who would have thought I was a real estate agent? Who would have thought that you could have got somebody's house for $25,000? But it happened. Somebody wasn't paying attention or just decided to fight the HOA and the HOA won. I don't know how this stuff's constitutional, that they can deprive you of your property because you didn't mow your grass over and over again, and the interest just kept stacking up on it. Some of these HOA powers are insane. And who qualifies to be on the HOA board? Whoever wants to be. You don't have to be a financial real estate agent, real estate anybody, lawyer, attorney, CPA, nothing. You got voted in and you got all the power to ruin somebody's life.
I didn't know HOA had the power to do that. I know we had some fines, but they never want to negotiate.
According to Villela, they owed more than $7,000 in HOA fines. That includes leaving the trash can by the curb and landscaping issues.
I knew that I had some fines, and we never stopped making the mortgage payments. I feel that they were targeting us.
The new buyer allowed
foreclosed over that much money? That is insanity.
The family to stay in the home as long as Villela paid him rent. He also offered to sell the property back to her for $28,000. The community rallied and raised the funds. But according to the Community Economic Defense Project, this hasn't worked out.
We actually made an offer to him a month or so ago, directly, personally said, we have the funds, we're willing to sign, tell us when and where, we just want to restore this woman's home back to her. He said he did not want to hear from us.
That's why lawmakers created House Bill 1137 last year to regulate HOAs. Rodriguez says, though, this practice is still happening.
One of the oldest tricks in the books is they just keep raising the HOA dues. They basically push you out financially. And when you can't take it anymore, somebody swoops in to buy it, and that's what always happens with this stuff. They try to raise the temperature of the pot until the lobster inside's cooked, and you don't know it until all of a sudden you can't afford the house anymore, and you're either having to sell it for, fire sell it, or somebody swoops in and grabs it.
Mr. Banda is in fact a active duty member of the United States Air Force.
Air Force Master Sergeant Christopher Banda flew back to San Antonio from Turkey, where he's been stationed for 15 months, to argue before JP Court Judge Sylvia Ruiz that he should not be evicted from his home on the far west side.
The last thing an active duty service member who's serving our nation needs is to worry about where they're going to have a home when they come back.
I bought this house in 2015.
Banda still pays the mortgage on his home, but the HOA put a lien on the property, which was...
What do you think about this? Comments down below. Do you think that a veteran should be able to have his house snatched underneath him while he's serving the country? I feel like this is kind of like a lot of your debts, like your credit card, payments. Sometimes like that can be stopped while you're deployed. There should be a lot of litigation about this kind of stuff because it's wrong that you're out of the country, you don't have the ability to respond to certain type of paperwork, and then they just slip in, snatch it out from underneath you. Comment down below if you've had anything happen like this before to you. What can you do to fight it? Because a lot of people can learn about this stuff in the comments section, and it's how we're all learning.
I was in shock. I immediately started texting other neighbors.
That's a total surprise. It's a shocking surprise.
It's this letter causing the concern. HOA leaders writing their reserves have not been fully funded in its 20-year history. The community is facing significant financial...
Surprise! These HOAs can get together, decide they need a new something or got to fix something, and they probably didn't disclose it to you until all of a sudden, and then boom, cough up 60 grand or we're going to levy your house. We're going to put a lien on your house for what you couldn't pay, and then now what? Stuck. This stuff is criminal. HOAs should not be allowed to do this. The state needs to come in, and they did come in last year and try to limit some of this authority, but it's still like they have so much authority over the top of you. I actually drove past here today on the way. I'm at Disney World right now, if you can't tell. And I noticed that we went right past this. And I was like, oh, it looks like they're having an HOA problem. Does anybody out there know about this? Did you go through it? Did you have to pay a special assessment? But I see it in condos all the time. You know, all of a sudden, new roof, need an elevator, got to fix the sprinkler system, got to manicure the yard.
Financial challenges needing community-wide balcony repairs, waterproofing, garage roof replacement, touching on worries about remaining insurable in the future.
There's 165 people.
Be very careful who you give absolute authority to. And HOAs is one of those situations when that one guy, we all know who he is, gets a little authority. He's got nothing else better to do than walk around and make yourself make your house a living nightmare. And you're working every day. You don't have time to deal with all these little things that are just coming up with. And it seems like the good idea fairy is getting you every 2 steps. I see it when I sell houses for clients and they get in trouble for the garbage can or the contractor that's just trying to fix something, but there's an extra truck in the driveway. And it seems like these people have nothing else better to do. I am not a fan of HOAs. Sometimes you can't get around them. Sometimes they're a good thing. But for the most part, like the stress level that I would be under living and knowing that somebody can come across the street and just give me a fine that could go against my title, and I could wind up losing a house over this person worrying about how many flower beds I have in the front yard.
People, residents, each person, family's piece would be $60,000.
Asking residents to vote on a special assessment to either pay in installments or pay a little more than $11,000 to cover some projects. The fourth option would be to increase the monthly HOA dues by $625 for the next 8 years.
There will be a lot of people that lose their home. Either they have to sell or they can't make these payments. They'll have a lien put on their house, foreclosures.
And homeowners like Tammy Rotifer are wondering why this is all coming at once. We reached out to the property management. The association's attorney says no comment.
I was in shock. I immediately started texting other neighbors.
That's a total surprise. It's a shocking.
It's amazing some of these fees that they can put up. And the state of Florida is trying to limit it. Some of the other states are too. But transfer fees, they can vote whether they want you or not. That was wild. I didn't realize they could decide not to let you into the HOA. Like, how's that not discrimination?
Who is governing these HOAs? I mean, somebody tell me, because it's getting out of hand out here. I live in HOA community. It's great. I don't pay no crazy prices, and we still have amenities like pools and parks and things of that sort. And I don't pay these astronomical prices that I'm seeing out here in the marketplace. When you buy a house, there's always this HOA transfer fee. What is that? Basically, you're charging hundreds of dollars, and I've even seen $1,000.
You know, if you've got any criminal history, if you've got anything that they just don't like, some of these HOAs can just say, you know what? No. Now what? Now what with the deal? The real estate agents, the title companies, the lenders, all these things. And if they don't want you, they don't want you. Isn't that crazy? Comment down below if you've seen that situation.
People always wonder why I'm anti-HOA. Look at this Castle Rock community that had a huge increase in their HOA fees. So here's the article if you want to read about it. They had a huge skyrocket in their insurance premium of 600%, which they had to pass on to residents. You're not ready for this. Our dues went from $300 to $820. Not a year, not a quarter, a month.
Perfect example of what I was talking about earlier. All of a sudden, you know, a group of people to get together and they're going to spend your money. And they fine you. And sometimes they'll start looking for fines just to fill the coffer in order to do their good idea fairy or fix their thing. Well, the assessments is a good idea of it. Or, you know what, we don't like to look at your house, so fine, and we're going to use that money to put in a new slide somewhere.
So I live in an HOA, and I got another HOA horror story for you. So I recently just had my driveway extended, like yesterday. It took a month, actually over a month, to get approved because I kept getting rejected, but I finally figured out what the rules were. That was on me. And I got my driveway extended per the parameters of the HOA guidelines, which is it can only be extended 3 feet on either side from the existing driveway. So I extended it 3 feet on either side, using the same type of materials that the original driveway was constructed with when we bought the house. So I had a neighbor walk by and looked at my driveway, and she was just like, hey, just so you know, I don't think, this is allowed. And I was like, oh no, I got the HOA approval. I had to submit a whole application with a sketch and a mock photo and like the vendor's proposal and all that stuff. It's like, yeah, but it looks too big. And they said the only rule was I can only be 3 feet on either side of the existing driveway. That's my extension zone, and I cannot go to the sidewalk. I have to stop before the sidewalk. So I'm well within that. So yeah, but it looks a lot bigger than the other driveways. And I'm just like, yeah, and I just don't think I'm comfortable with that. And I was like, ma'am, you're not even on the HOA board. So yeah, but they're gonna be hearing from me. And I was like, dear freaking God. So I'm going to make it my mission to make sure this woman never gets any position of authority on the HOA board as long.
Our HOA fines $500 per fine, and we just got a notice for fines for not having enough colors in the front yard. You have to have 9 between like your front door, your shutters, your house color, your vegetation, and not having fresh flowers. And then also for our mailbox just being wood. So I don't want 2 more fines. They come every single week, and I'm just not a flower person. So I got these, and I'm hoping that they won't know that they're fake, because I don't want a fine for them being fake either. I don't want another fine. If you were HOA and you drove past my house, would you know that these were fake? Be honest with me. I'm hoping they won't, but I'm planning to go all the way around the mailbox, because then that'll fix the 9 color thing, it'll fix the plain mailbox post, and it'll fix the flower thing. So apparently these are like UV resistant, water resistant. So as soon as I saw these, I was like, this is what I need, because I can't keep a flower alive. And honestly, I think they look gorgeous. I feel like that looks really pretty, and there's a crap ton of colors in here. So hopefully this is awesome. How's it look? I think it looks good. Maybe could use another one in the front just to fill it in more, and hopefully no more fines in the future. I have 6 of them. I think I might put another one right there just to kind of fill her in. But I think she's so cute. If you drove past my house, would you be like, oh my God, that's cute?
Be very careful who you give power to, because this is pure insanity. Imagine the extra cost it costs to own that property. That all of a sudden you could have a $500 fine. Get a few of those a year, and all of a sudden, I mean, you're spending thousands of dollars extra for your house to live there. And not to mention, you get a bad name with an HOA, all of a sudden nobody wants to buy your house when you go to sell it. And the cost of your house goes down because Kevin or Karen or whoever just made your property not worth as much because nobody wants to live next to them. And they hear that HOA is a nightmare, or they hear that they can't have that boat, or they hear they can't have that little dog. And all of a sudden, the buyer pool shrinks. I see it all the time in real estate as a real estate agent.
Hello, can I help you? I want to talk to you. This is Elba. I want to show you something.
I'm sorry, I can't come to the door right now.
Get out your neighborhood bylaws. It's section 5.20. No signs shall be in the yards. If you don't take this, yes, I will sue you. I'm right here. And I was going to have you sell my house, but that's not going to happen now, and you're going to lose a lot of business because of this crap.
Well, Zelda, The name says it, okay? I could not have somebody bring in the bylaws to my front yard and say, you can't do that. In my own yard, I feel like it's my castle. Should be able to do whatever I want to do.
About what's been going on lately. There are kids vandalizing. There are kids robbing things. There are kids going in people's boats. Okay?
Okay, sir, we've already verified we live here. We've already verified we live here.
Then it's fine. You
Okay,
should be
stop bothering
supportive
us.
of this. You shouldn't have an issue with it.
Okay, then
As a
why are you
resident,
bothering us?
If you're a resident and an owner, then you should
I don't have a
care.
problem. I don't have a problem. You verified where you live. I verified where I live.
You
So
guys
what's the
don't
problem?
understand what is going on.
Sir,
you really don't get a fucking grip
What would
on
you
this?
like me to do? What would you like me to do?
Just give me the honest answers.
We
Don't
gave you
question
your
me.
honest answers. We never lied to you.
So this sounds like my neighborhood. Even though we don't have an HOA, everybody wants to think that everybody else is a criminal, and they call the law on everything and everybody. Like, they look out outside their window looking for somebody to call the cops on. And I'm like, look, I've had no problems. I don't want to get mixed up in your politics and your nightmare, and not everybody's a criminal. And some people just want to be left alone. But they want to force you into that problem because their bicycle got stolen. And a lot of times, nothing got stolen of theirs. They just want to cause a scene. This is how some people get attention. But some people do have stuff go missing. I understand. I feel for them. But it's not everybody's problem. Like, I don't deal with this anymore because some of these neighbors, they just look for stuff.
We need some serious help. I live in an association in Lakeville, Minnesota, and a lot of us feel like we are getting scammed or severely taken advantage of, and we are not getting the help or the support that we need. We got a letter on June 5th of this year letting us know that a roof project was underway and that every homeowner would have to pay $17,000 towards a $2.5 million assessment to replace the roofs of our homes for a storm that happened 2 years ago. A storm that none of the homeowners have seen any visible damage of. They started work 4 days later, not giving any of the homeowners any time to dispute, voice concerns, and since then, so many emails and phone calls from homeowners to our property management company have gone unanswered. Owners were told that they have until July 31st to pay the $17,000, and we're not given any sort of installment options, anywhere to go for support. They were just told, or we were just told that no late assessment would be applied if we didn't pay that amount. We have reached out to attorneys. We've reached out to local and state representatives. I've filed a formal complaint with the Attorney General, with the Minnesota Department of Commerce, and we're not getting answers. And now the roofing crews have picked up speed. They've also been doing roofing in downpouring rain, which creates another level of concern that there will be water damage from this roofing job. And as homeowners, we're at a loss. We gathered together a few days ago to sign a petition to hold a special meeting so that we can remove our board members and halt the work, any non-emergency work, until we can get answers. We haven't been notified. We haven't received documents that we need. Homeowners' insurance claims are not being paid out because there's differing dates on documents. The roofing company that is doing the work is owned by our property management company, and it's just beyond frustrating. And there are so many homeowners that are worried who won't be able to pay it, and are worried about if they'll lose their home. So I'm asking if anybody knows of any attorneys that have represented homeowners associations. We've reached out to attorneys, and they've said that they generally represent the HOA and not the homeowners. We're trying to see if we can get some sort of a cease and desist. All that we're asking is that they stop the work until we can get the answers that we are owed as homeowners. We have rights as homeowners. I don't believe that due process has been followed.
The last HOA president didn't do the proper maintenance on the property or in the HOA, and they sell, and they don't have to be assessed. They know an assessment's coming up, so they sell early. And then the next person that bought the house winds up finding that there's an assessment. And all of a sudden, you have to pay thousands of dollars to fix the roof or the stairway or the elevator that they already knew was going to need to be replaced in a few years, and they just deuced out. And you're caught holding the bag. And that's what's happening with all these condos. They started falling apart. They knew that there was these integrity studies coming down the pipe, and they got out of Dodge. And then the next person Guy caught holding the bag.
Remember the terrible HOA that fined me $90 for cosmetic violations after my house burned down? Well, they increased our fees to build this park. So let's do a tour of this fabulous park they paid for with their extortion money. Starting off, a rope ladder that's broken that goes to nowhere, but if you're crafty enough, you can get up on the roof. So that's nice. We also have right here monkey bars with a 10-foot drop that directly intercept a swing with nowhere to go on the other side. So if you're, say, 7 or 8 and you manage to actually get up there and go, unless you can climb backwards, you're dropping down. So that's awesome. We also have this peephole up there where there are several bolts missing. So that's like great. Then if we move further along here, you see 2 identical climbing walls. One of them with a busted plank, which is very weird considering this is a brand new build. This bridge right here has a crossbar that forces you to crawl, which is good because it's actually a pretty straight drop down here on both sides. So if your kid is young, you need 2 parents, one on each side, because they can just drop right off. There is no safe stairs or steps to get up here. It's just climbing walls, rope ladder to nowhere but the roof, and then a little rickety ladder over there. But don't worry, they put rock hard compacted dirt underneath. So if you fall, your death will be sudden. No suffering for you. If we move forward onto this side right here, we get this fantastic view of the only way to get across the 2 sections is either the bridge you're forced to crawl through or a tunnel with, again, 2 straight drops down. So I'm glad you used your extortion money well. I was very happy to pay my fines after you fined me for cosmetic violations after my house burned down. That was super reasonable and fair, by the way. And yeah, this is what that paid for.
So this is a perfect example of what I was talking about. They just go around finding people to fill the coffers, and then they hire their buddy to do a playground that the stairs go nowhere. And this is a good example. We see this probably went to the lowest bidder, probably somebody they knew, and you get a playground because you made the wrong person mad and you had to pay for it. But you know what? That's all I got, everybody. Comment down below. This was an interesting topic. HOAs are becoming a nightmare. There's horror story after horror story. Be very careful when you go to get into an HOA. If you're using a real estate agent, make sure you ask the agent these questions. Know your HOA docs. Make sure your agent knows about your HOAs, your HOA documents. Make sure it fits your lifestyle. And make sure that you get the proper addendum signed, and all that stuff is going to differ by state, that everybody knew what was going on with the HOA. And ask about assessments. Ask about all these things before you sign on the dotted line and you wire that money. But that's all I got, everybody. Comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're looking to buy real estate on the Gulf Coast of Florida, Alabama, my email is down below. I have to be out of town right now, but I will be back probably before you email me. I'm at Disney World right now. I got to take a little Jack to see the Magic Kingdom tonight. And if you're anywhere in the country and you're looking for a real estate agent, I can help you with that. My email is down below. I will find you one. And on to the next video. This was a good one. Be very careful with these rising HOA costs. They're going to get worse as inflation gets higher and higher. You're going to see more assessments. You're going to see more things that they're bundling in there. And these insurance costs, which usually the HOA and condos and stuff like that, they pay for the insurance out of the HOA dues. And that's going to go up, 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 up. So you're going to wind up seeing some really excessive HOA dues in the future.